Alrighty, everybody. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another live, y'all. So we got quite a bit of activity going on here tonight. A lot of things to talk about today. Hold on one second. Let me make sure everything is running good here. Pull this up. But yeah, we actually have quite a few things we need to talk about tonight, including you guys need to be on the lookout here because we are having a bit of a solar storm go on tonight. Did you guys hear about that? We got a G4 magnetic storm that's happening, which means we could see northern lights pretty far down in the country today. So that's one of the main things. The second topic we're going to be talking a lot about today is this big guy, which this right here in itself could be something quite interesting. Really big winter storm for this weekend here, so we'll need to look out for that too. But anyways, let's see what's up, JP. Good to see you. Saying can't watch him at working, but hi everyone. Oh, well, it's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. What's up, Mark? Good to see you. Say what's good, chat. Andrew, what's up, dude? Good to see you. What's up, Free Thinking? Saying, hey, Andrew, what's up? Hope you're doing well. See, oh dear, solar storm, followed by a winter storm. Yeah, it's quite crazy, isn't it? Quite crazy. Yeah, it's actually a G4 magnetic storm here. Let me bring up this panel here because what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. First things first, we're going to take a look here at the Space Weather Prediction Center. Oh my gosh, I'm bright. Why am I so bright? Oh my gosh, I look really bright now. Okay, we need to get rid of that ASAP. There we go. Anyways, yeah, we got a G4. Now, space weather isn't really my thing per se, but I do know that a K index of 8.6 is pretty darn high. Between that and the G4 observed, it's pretty crazy. What's up, Roy? Good to see ya. Let's see here. Hey, man, checking in from Lester, Clarksville in Arkansas. Good to see you, dude. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I mean, this really means that a lot of people, a lot of states could be in the Northern Lights for tonight. So just keep an eye out there for that. The peak is going to be between 10 p.m. and 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Hello from Dallas Fort Worth. Good to see ya. Cho, good to see ya. Hope you're doing well. Is it Chogan 201? What's up, Ponderosa? Hello. Let's see. What do I think Northern Indiana will get? Do I think we'll have a chance of heavy snow in all the models? Looking at the big one. So as of now, it seems like models are having this like further south of So you said Northern Indiana, so probably going to be a little further south than that. Here, let's actually hop over to the models here. We're gonna do a bit of a comparison between some of these other models. Let me bring up my workflow. We'll do my workflows, and we'll grab precipitation type comparison. So this is kind of what I've been looking at here the last couple of days. It really kind of just shows you the different models and what we could be looking at the time being. So the event really kind of pops off here for actually Friday. I mean, you can see here pretty much by the evening of Friday, I have 5 models loaded up here, actually 6, but the 6th one doesn't want to work for some reason. But you can see that we do have, quite a bit of agreement here between the models. Now, they look a little different, and they're going to because, I mean, given that it is, still a week out before this event happens, they're going to, of course, the models are going to look a little bit different. But you can see, I mean, there's a pretty good amount of support, between all the models. You got the gym model here. Of course, it highlights all of them. Well, the gym model is in the top right. The European model is in this panel up top, middle. We have the American GFS up here, and of course AI GFS and the AI ECMWF in the bottom middle. But regardless, I mean, both of the model, or I should say not just both, but all of the models really kind of agree on this system developing here. Now, this thing could be quite a monster, actually. I mean, look at this. So as we approach our way into the afternoon of Saturday, The way it looks here is that, I mean, we could be dealing with not just potentially really heavy snow, but maybe even some ice, like freezing rain, maybe some sleet included as well. It could be quite an ice storm here as well. So that could be, a big problem for the weekend here. So we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop. Now, obviously at this point in time, it is a little too early to tell you guys, exactly how much totals we're going to be talking about, just because of simply how much disagreement there still is between these models. There is a lot of things that does need to be worked out between now and then. So we'll just keep you guys up to date with everything. We'll be giving you guys daily updates on everything that happens here. Let's see. I'm in Seattle on a trip. Will I be able to see the lights? I believe so. As long as you're far away from light pollution, you should have a pretty good shot at seeing it. Let's see here. What's up, Kazo? Good to see ya. Let's see. Biloxi, Mississippi, checking in. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see here. Cheryl from Dallas Fort Worth. Oh, gotcha. Well, I have a hard time remembering, so I apologize. Let's see here. Saturday looks to be bad freezing rain in Dallas. It could. It could. That's what we're going to kind of look out here for. I mean, some of the models do show, the ice getting pretty far down. I mean, we have both the American GFS, the Euro, the GEM model here, or the GDPS, even the ECMWF AIFS. It's a lot, but yeah, I mean, it could be. It absolutely could be. We're seeing a pretty good amount of agreement here, that the system will exist. I mean, at this point in time, will this happen? There's a really good chance it will. I'm just going to be flat out, yes, there's a really good shot that this system's going to happen. Is there a good shot that there could be ice and snow involved? Absolutely. The thing is now, is as you can see, all of these models agree that there will be something here by this weekend. But the thing that they don't agree is exactly the placement of where everything is going to be. And you can see, like, for example, the American GFS, shows pretty much mostly ice, not much snow. Then you got models like the Euro, which shows a lot of snow. Also the Euro AIFS. Even the AI GFS shows, a bit of snow. So you can obviously tell that they look a little different, per model, which, that's to be expected given the fact that we are a week out from this event here. So we are still a little bit of a ways away out from the event. Like I said, this is really going to start happening on Friday. It looks like on Friday is when everything's going to start to kind of come together here. So we work our way through early Saturday. You can see really kicking up here, likely some heavy snow, maybe some ice across central southern plains going into the Midwest here. And then, of course, we continue further down in time here, kind of into the morning of Sunday. And by this time, it could be pushed up against towards the mid-Atlantic, even the southeast, possibly seeing a bit of ice here, according to some of the models. So yeah, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye out there for that. Let's see here. Could Tulsa get bad? So Tulsa, looking up in Tulsa, you guys definitely could be involved. Yes. You can see that there's quite a bit of model support, actually suggesting that, Tulsa could get some activity here. You got GFS not showing a whole lot, but Euro does. Of course, we have the GEM model here too, showing, maybe a bit of snow, maybe some sleet freezing rain. The AI GFS, the AI ECMWF, there is a pretty good amount of support that does suggest, yes, there could be some winter weather concerns for the weekend. But, like I said, a little bit of a disclaimer to everybody. This is still a week out. There is still a lot of things that can change between now and then, between now and by the time the event does begin. I want to keep that, in the back of your guys' heads, just to let you guys know that can change. And, in some ways it likely will, because there is obviously a bit of disagreement still, obviously you can tell that some of the events play out a little bit differently per different models. So we'll definitely keep you guys up to date with everything. Let's see here. What about a prediction on Memphis? That's pretty good. Yeah, Memphis actually could be in one of the hot spots, actually. It seems like Memphis could be in one of the realms where we could see some pretty heavy impacts. The only model that really doesn't suggest that is the GFS, but you can literally see every other model here, like, Euro, the GDPS, the AI GFS, AI ECMWF. They all really project Memphis probably being in some pretty heavy activity here. So, definitely will need to keep an eye out there for the Memphis area. Absolutely. But like I said, once again, things can still change, and we likely will have some changes by then. Let's see here. Prep those generators. It's not a bad idea. No, not a bad idea. Make sure they have good, nice fresh gas, and make sure the oil's good to go and stuff like that. Absolutely. Yeah. And also be a good time to make sure you actually have, reserve gas too, so that, if you do ultimately need them, then yeah. I mean, because if this did play out, and if we actually really did have, a significant winter storm like this, with the ice and everything included, that would be a huge problem, for power outages and stuff like that. Because, I mean, even a little amount of ice can cause a significant amount of power outages. It's ridiculous. I mean, a tiny bit of ice can do a lot, because ice is really heavy. Ice is super, super heavy, in which, yeah, there's going to be, definitely some power outages if this ice does materialize, which it seems like a lot of the models do want to have happen here. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Let's see. Hopefully it's not going to knock out your power, or going to knock out. Hold on. Hopefully it's not going to knock power out like in 2021. Was that the year that Texas had that really bad ice storm? Goodness. Evan says, "What is my thoughts in Southern Illinois?" Good question. Now, Southern Illinois actually could be involved in this here. Looking at the models here, as we approach our way into pretty much Saturday afternoon, going into, kind of Sunday morning per se. There is a fair amount of agreement here. The storm itself could shift a little bit further south. Or even further north. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, the overall track could change in either direction, So, but as of right now, given the way the models look, I mean, it certainly is possible. Probably pretty likely that you could get at least something out of this event here. So, we'll definitely keep an eye on it, and like I said, as we give more updates and stuff like that, we'll be giving you guys the fresh information, day by day up until the event happens. But for now, yeah, I mean, it's certainly something to look out for. And the way it looks, I mean, there's a pretty good possibility that, yeah, you could ultimately see some activity out of it. So, but like I said, it's way, way too early to determine totals and stuff like that too. So, like I said, any totals we look at right now is going to be absolutely completely off the walls. But I mean, we'll look at it anyways, just to kind of see where the models go. The reason here, we'll go ahead and reset this here. We'll just get a single panel going for snow accumulation. But like I said, it's too early for snow accumulation, but we're still going to look at it. And the reason why I want to look at it is so that I can go back and see how far the models have progressed. It's a very important thing about forecasting and weather, is making sure that you kind of you can see how these models evolve and how, where they've gone, in terms of, previous runs and stuff like that. So, we'll just kind of show you guys where it's at now, and then we'll show you where it's at tomorrow. And you can see kind of how, the trend essentially. Anyway, so let's actually look at that first. We'll look at the GFS model. We'll do the 10-to-1 ratio just to kind of see what we could be in store for. I'm actually going to grab my own color table here. I have Drew's snow accumulation. We'll bring up that one. So, yeah, I mean, you could see we could be in store for quite a bit of snowfall. Now, remember, this is one model, okay? So keep that in mind. This is one model, one run here. But, we could be dealing with it quite a bit, especially out east. For some reason, the latest GFS, I think this is the latest 18 UTC, yeah, really wants a heavy amount of snow out by the lower mid-Atlantic, by the Carolinas. But, given the exact totals, once again, I'm telling you now, this is likely going to be totally different. So just keep that in mind. So that's that's the American GFS. Now, Euro, on the other hand, the European model, you can still see really shows a significant amount of snowfall. A pretty good streak of at least a foot, if expanding through the central southern plains, through like the Tennessee Valley, into the Mid Atlantic here. Really targeting areas like Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Oklahoma, possibly with a pretty good amount of snowfall. Obviously you can see, one thing I do want to point out is you can see just how different the American GFS model is and the European model is. And that's a great example of showing exactly why it's too early to actually trust snow totals, is because of the fact you can just see just how much of a difference there already is, given that there. But anyways, so we'll look at a couple other models. Obviously, it's great to look at more than one opinion. So now we'll pull up the AI GFS here, to kind of see where this model stands, in which, kind of agrees for the most part. It actually shows, some of the heaviest accumulations, possibly out by the Mid-Atlantic, possibly between like Virginia and North Carolina here. But, is that going to be the same, a week out from now? It's hard to tell, really. I mean, it could, but I've seen both ways. I've seen models change up their minds last minute. I've seen models persist, for long range to the short range. And I've seen it, persist fairly well. Different events, different outcomes. It could be a big concern for the Mid-Atlantic. It could not. It's really just too early for the exact totals, but it definitely needs to be watched, bottom line, overall. Let's see here. Is there a chance that southern Missouri gets no snow? Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but at this point in time, it seems like a lot of the models really do want it to happen. I'd say that there's more of a chance of you getting snow than not. Let's see. I saw the temps were going to be super cold. Would that increase snow amounts? The cold air really ensures that, it can fall as snow. There's different snow modes. You got like powdery snow, as you know, and you got the heavy snow. The powdery snow usually comes from a lot colder air, makes it light, stuff like that. You really have the heavy snow whenever your temperatures are really kind of close to that freezing point. It just depends on how cold it gets. Now, one thing I do want you guys to remember too is that it's not just the surface temperatures what matters. It also really matters what's going on in the mid and upper atmosphere too, because you can have spikes in temperatures, say at your mid levels, and that could actually melt snowflakes into water droplets, then refreeze and fall asleep before hitting the ground. It's just, I'm actually making a video, believe it or not, actually right now. Well, not this second, of course, but a little bit ago, I've been working on it. Basically just going over, the different precipitation types and, looking at SKU-T charts and stuff like that, which I'm going to be uploading at some point here soon. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, the cold definitely does help. It does for sure. I mean, if it's going to be too warm, then it's just going to be rain, but I don't think it's just going to be rain. It's going to be likely everything. Let's see, not a fan of the Euro model. What would the Euro do to you? All right, well, let's look over here at the ECMWF AI. Let's see what this model suggests here. Okay, so this model actually is arced a little bit further north, as you can kind of tell. So a lot of the previous models we were looking at showed a lot of accumulation out here, like North Carolina. Now, the Euro AI FS seems to have, the biggest streak, obviously right in here, cutting through like Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, West Virginia, up into the lower New England there. But one thing I will tell you is that, I mean, all models here really do suggest, possibly some really heavy amounts of snow. I mean, we're talking, possibly feet, or I wouldn't say feet, but, a foot or more in some areas there, which is definitely a bit of a concern. Now, remember, there's likely going to be some ice on this storm as well, which honestly, ice is more of a bigger concern here overall. So, yeah, between the heavy snow and the ice, I mean, there's likely going to be some significant impacts here with the system. So, we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop here. We'll let you guys know what's going on with it. But in case if you guys missed it here, if you're just now tuning in here, So I do want to hop back over here to what we were looking at a minute ago, looking at the precipitation type comparison. I really like this because it really kind of shows you where all the models are at here. And you can just see how much they are different from one another and everything. So, like I said, this event's likely going to start here on Friday evening, the later portion of Friday. We're going to have this, system really develop here for the later part of Friday going into Saturday. And by Saturday morning is kind of where we're at right here. I mean, this is showing 10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday morning. So, as you guys know, this is several days out, which, there's likely going to be some changes between now and then. But looking at the models and where they're at right now with everything, I mean, you can see they're a little sloppy, but there's some key agreement here, and a lot of it is the ice and stuff. I mean, you can see a lot of the models do suggest quite a bit of ice, between sleet and freezing rain occurring, and even some heavy snow and whatnot. It could be a setup for quite a decent winter storm here. The models, they have the system once, like I said, starting late Friday, going through Saturday. And on Saturday, it's likely going to be heavy snow, some ice possibly throughout the plains, the Midwest, even maybe even towards the Tennessee Valley and whatnot. And then, of course, as we go into Sunday, a lot of that kind of pushes to the east here, which could bring some heavy snow possibly towards the Mid-Atlantic, possibly towards the Northeast and whatnot. Let's see here. Sorry, don't mean to spam, but this let's see, ask you busy. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Is there any? Hold on. Between the only outlier as far as big impact storm in Northwest Arkansas, what are my thoughts? So the GFS, yes, has been the only outlier for the most part. Yes. And that's kind of where you throw out the model. I mean, you can see, for example, a lot of the models here do agree on quite a bit, but then you got the GFS over here, that shows not as much and kind of a bit of a breakup in terms of the snow. Like Euro, though, the GDPS, the GEM, AI GFS, AI Euro, they do show quite a bit of snow there, but the GFS has been mostly the only outlier out of the main model groups. Yes. Let's see here, Weston. Let me see what we're dealing with over by you. You are in Oklahoma. Okay, so yeah, you're up by Tulsa. Yeah, I mean, we were mentioning earlier that Tulsa could be in for quite a bit of impacts here with this system. It's definitely an area that we do need to look out for. So keep an eye on it, Weston. See, what are my predictions for Raleigh, North Carolina area to see some snow? That's a really good question. And, a lot of the models really do, as of now, I should say, don't get your hopes up. Remember, things can still change between now and the weekend, okay? This event, like I said, it's pretty much Friday to Sunday. This is the majority of the event. Now, Raleigh, between the models, I mean, it shows a pretty good amount of agreement on at least some forms of winter weather. If it's not snow, then it's ice. You got the GFS here, which I'm gonna go ahead and circle Raleigh, which you guys can see where Raleigh's at there. I mean, looking at all the main models here, I mean, they all agree to some extent. I mean, of seeing snow, ice, whatever. It's too early to tell, exactly how much we're talking. If it's just going to be pure snow, if it's going to be a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice, like sleet, freezing rain, or if it's just going to be like a pure ice storm. I can't tell you that right now because I don't know. It's just simply too early to tell. But I tell you what, though, I mean, given the solid agreement between multiple of these big models, you got a good shot at seeing a decent storm here. Absolutely. But it's just too early for the specifics right now. Do I think Dothan, Alabama might get more snow? I think that's down south, right? Here, let's see. Oops, we'll get rid of the pen here. So I think Dothan's down here. Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be really in for this. I mean, you never know. You never know. The way the models have it is it looks like it's mostly going to be too warm for you guys out there for that one. So out of this system, probably not, no. Let's see. The CMC shows snow southeast Alabama. Really? Well, you got to remember, even if it did, that's one out of like all of these main models we're looking at, and considering that all of the main models here that we're looking at really don't show any snow for southeast Alabama, given the one, say you said CMC does, that's kind of an outcast model in itself. Because I mean, yeah, that model might say it, but does the majority say it? In this case, no. So yeah. Let's see here. Let me see. I lost my spot here. Could it shift more? I really want snow in Cincinnati. Yeah, I mean, it absolutely could. I mean, a week is a long time for, storm systems to evolve. Absolutely. There could be some changes, And matter of fact, there will likely be changes in the track and stuff like that between now and then. It's too early to take it too serious right now, but it's something we need to watch closely because, I mean, there really could be some big impacts on this system here. Like I said, the specifics, it's too early. Like the amount of totals, the exact mode for certain areas, it's too early. Let's see here. What's up, Beth? Good to see ya. What's up, Calvin? Let's see here. Weston says sounds good. Hoping for some good snow here in Oklahoma, maybe 6+ inches. It's hard to tell, but given models, it's a possibility. Roy says thank you. No problem. I got you. Let's see here. Dylan says so. No snow for Missouri. Missouri will likely see some snow at this event here. Yes. Like I said, depends on the track, but I mean, you can see here, majority of the models do agree that Missouri will, see some snowfall. Yeah, I mean, like I said, even a little bit of a northerly push would really kind of lock them in terms of getting snowfall. But it's a pretty good shot that portions of Missouri will likely see some snow out of this. Is there a chance for an ice storm in Houston this weekend? I don't think models really have it going that far south quite. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. Most of the models have it. So there's Houston here. I'll go ahead and circle it so you can see. So there's all the models. I mean, you can see the green, which is showing rain. Not a lot of model agreement on any ice, particularly going on for Houston. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're Houston being pretty close to the coast keeps it a little bit warmer. Plus, being a city, of course, keeps the temperatures a little bit warmer too. But the ice, according to some models, does get fairly close, like Euro, AI GFS, AI Euro. So I mean, there's definitely a good amount of support that has the ice getting close, but there's not a whole lot of support that shows you directly getting like a full on ice storm. But like I said, a lot of it determines on the track of the system. If it shifts south, it'll pull the cooler air downwards a bit. Who knows? Which ultimately could allow for some ice. I'm not ruling it out, but as of right now, where the models stand, it doesn't look like it's very likely. Let's see. Is there a chance it could push more north? Yes, there's a chance it could push north or south at this point. Plus or minus. It could go either way. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is a week out. The event starts Friday, kind of later Friday, going through Saturday into Sunday. Should be out by Monday, I think. Here, let's look at the models, see what they say. Oops, about Monday here. So we go through Saturday, go through Sunday, go into Monday. Okay, so some models have the system out of the way, but there is a couple of models that show maybe some of it lingering up in like the northeast, maybe towards the mid-Atlantic on Monday. It's a little bit iffy on the models there, but yeah, most of it's Friday through Sunday. Let's see. Yeah, Dylan, it can. Like I said, it could go either north or south at this point. So it could really do anything at this point in time here. But I mean, the potential impacts could be pretty heavy on this one here. Definitely caught my eye. Weston says, I'm not asking this. I'm saying this is going to happen. It's likely it will change. But do I think the Euro scenario with a foot of snow in Tulsa is possible? How low connects with our energy. I know, like I said, I know it is pretty far out. And like you said, it is likely to happen. I mean, given between what the models were suggesting, I forgot what some of the other models were suggesting snow total wise. It's really good to go with what models agree on most. So that's what we got to really focus on. That's the thing is you got to really see what the models agree on the most, and you got to take that. What they disagree on the most, you can throw it out. Now, theoretically, yes, it is possible, yes. But yet again, I mean, really anything is possible with the system at this point. It could shift a lot further south. It could go further north. There could be more ice. There could be more snow. There could be, everything could change a little bit. But where the models stand right now, and this is really important. Right now where the models do stand is that yes, there is likely going to be a really big winter storm this weekend. Yes, there will likely be some pretty good amounts of impacts, with ice and heavy snow. So yeah, definitely have to keep an eye on it. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Calvin says, thanks, Andrew. I feel relief. Many local news weather stations, Houston, hype up ice storm this weekend. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, keep an eye on it. It's not something to worry about right now for you. There very well could be some wintry weather in the area, come Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But like I said, Houston's a little bit closer to the coast, which kind of helps keep it maybe a little bit warmer. As of now, given models, there's not a whole lot of support for Houston itself getting, heavy ice. I mean, you can see it's close to the north, but once again, that's a handful of model support here. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. I mean, just know that it is possible. It could change between now and then. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. All right, let's see here. Dylan says local weather is saying no snow, but I don't believe any weatherman on TV. That's fair. I mean, that's your own opinion. You're entitled to your own opinion. But anyways, I mean, yeah, like I said, this will likely at this point in time, I give this at least. There is obviously no 100% in everything, but I'd say at least a 98, 99% chance this system will exist. Of course, like I said, the specifics though, that's where it gets a little fuzzy. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of hype about this one. I'm sure there probably already is. Yeah, you just got to be careful, like, what you see, and make sure that one thing right now I'm going to tell you is if you see anybody like telling you exactly, okay, you're going to see these amount of snowfall totals. Yes, we looked at snowfall totals here, but we're not telling you that these are 100% going to happen. But if you see anybody as of right now that says, hey, you're going to get that exact amount of snow, it's wrong because it's too early to tell. I cannot say it enough. Let's see here. Yeah, Weston, you probably have a pretty good chance at it. But yet again, let's just wait a little bit. Let's just wait a couple days and just see what happens. Absolutely. But anyways, y'all, well, if you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to ask here. Like I said, we're here for y'all. Let's see. GFS showing 27 hours of snow and over 6 inches on the latest model. Really? Here, let's pull up the GFS. Is that the 18? I think that was the one we were looking at, actually. Here, let me bring up, we'll do this. Precipitation type. Should be around here somewhere. There it is. Like total 27 hours of snow. Yeah, it looks like according to Euro, it happens, or sorry, not Euro, GFS. It starts to happen here for the morning, maybe even of Friday. A bit of ice. Again, going through Saturday, going through Sunday, and should be out possibly even by Sunday evening. But that just, each model is a little bit different. Let's see here. Just won't look on Facebook for amounts. Yeah, I wouldn't yet, because they're likely not going to get you anywhere. Let's see. Gabriel says this feels fake. 16 inches of snow, North Carolina, of all places. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I know it does, but like I said, totals are too early to tell. So don't be trusting any totals right now. Let's see. You doubt this happens? What, like the event in general, or for specifically North Carolina getting those impacts? I'll tell you what. The probability of this happening is very high. I mean, I'm very confident the system will exist. I mean, you've seen the amount of agreement out of the main models that there is this early. Yes, there is a lot of things that some models pick up on than others, and there is going to be a little bit of a disagreement, up until the event happening. But I mean, from where we stand now, there's a really good amount of support here, between the models and stuff. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. See, my big worry is the ice, especially that far south. Yeah, I mean, if we did, if we did get, a lot of that ice, that would be a huge problem. Huge problem. I have not Weston's, no. See, could this go to the north? It could. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it could shift south. It could go north at this point in time. I mean, it could oscillate a bit. Nothing's final. But let me bring this back up again for you guys here. We'll show you guys here. We'll go back to our bundles here, and we'll pull up our precip type comparison once again. And like I said, this is the main models here. These are, once again, GFS in the top left, Euro in the top center, the GDPS or the GEM models in the top right. Bottom left here, this is the AI GFS, and this is the European AIFS. So that is basically a lot of the main models here. Let's see here. Evan says, my question, does the system do the classic shift to the north like they almost always do, it seems? Like I said, it's too early to tell its exact track. But a lot of the models right now keep it pretty much through the Central Plains, through the Midwest, kind of for the lower Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Tennessee Valley, for now. Yeah, I mean, once again, it could go up north, it could go further south. It's too early to tell the exact track as of right now. Will I be streaming tomorrow? More than likely, yeah. GFS has been super consistent. It really has, yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Connor says, could it be a good event for Dayton? As of now, a lot of the models have, so there's Dayton over there. A lot of the models show most of the activity south of you. So it's hard to tell. Really, it just comes down to the track and stuff. What causes sleet to form instead of snow? It's funny you say that. Like I said, I was actually making a video on looking at SKU charts and what determines precipitation types and stuff. But essentially, it's a warm layer in the atmosphere. I'll actually grab you an example here. Let's look at the freezing rain / sleet here. Let's grab a sounding. So we'll do that now. So it's basically a warm layer in the atmosphere. I'm going to go ahead and show you, kind of what's going on here. So if let me zoom in just a little bit. You know what? Honestly, I think probably a better thing to do would be to use Tropical Tidbits view, because I like their SKU layout. It's more simple for explaining things to you guys. So let me go to the southeast here. We'll pull up GFS. We'll do this here. Okay, so there we go. So if I grab a sounding, let's grab a sleet sounding here, like you said. So it's really important, not just in the temperatures in your lower atmosphere, at the ground, but it's also very important for the temperatures in the middle to upper atmosphere as well. Now, this is your SKU chart here, and this is your temperature line. So this is 0 degrees Celsius, which is 32 Fahrenheit, or your freezing point. Now, the temperature doesn't drop off, going up straight. Essentially, there is a bit of a slant here, so that everything on the left side of this line here is below freezing. Now, you're looking at the atmosphere at a vertical representation. And what I mean by that is essentially here at the bottom, this is your ground level. And the higher you go up on the graph, the higher you essentially go up in the atmosphere. So up here, this is your upper atmosphere, this is your middle atmosphere, and this is your lower atmosphere here. So you can see there's a little warm layer, and this this is why we're actually probably going to be seeing some sleet here, for that particular sounding, is because you can see the freezing line here. I'm going to try to make this as close as possible, but you can see this little bulge here. This is where the temperatures at this layer actually go above freezing. So while we do have saturation going all the way up to upper atmosphere levels, with our temperature, the red line, and the dew point, the green line, like touching, meaning that there is high amounts of moisture, there's condensing ongoing, or, there's condensation, whatever, all that's going on right now. So basically the atmosphere is very saturated. So at that point, the clouds form, and we start to get a lot of rain that starts falling. Or in this case, actually snow, because it's below freezing. But as it falls as snow, it encounters this warmer layer of the atmosphere, which causes the snow to melt into water droplets. And then you can see the temperature sharply gets colder again towards the surface, which would freeze it in that water droplet form into a solid droplet of ice, which is sleet. Sleet's just little ice pellets. So it falls as snow, turns to rain briefly, then refreezes as rain and falls as little ice pellets. Now, for freezing rain, it would look a little different. So essentially you'd have, here, let me just grab one for freezing rain and I'll show you the difference here. So we'll go a little further south here. This is where the middle levels of the atmosphere are a little bit warm, to where the snow melts back in the rain, falls as rain, but the temperatures on the ground are cold enough for it to freeze once it hits the ground. And after it's on the ground for a little bit, then it freezes. So that's the main difference. And of course, snow is basically where the atmosphere is mostly below freezing, surface to upper levels. Hopefully I'm not boring you guys too much. I just kind of wanted to explain. This is what I'm going to be doing in a video here soon, and what I was actually working on with you guys, or not with you guys, well, for you guys, I should say. So yeah, we'll definitely have that video out here probably pretty soon for you guys, so you can kind of understand it maybe a little bit different. Taking a look at the NWS website for their ice projections for now. Yeah, a little too early for sure, but yeah. Let's see, northern shift for Baltimore. Talking Baltimore, Maryland. The Mid-Atlantic is certainly possibly going to be in the range of seeing some winter weather. Only time will tell if this really does, of course, shift to the north or to the south. So, what do I think the worst case and most likely case is for New Jersey as of right now? Well, for that, we need to determine kind of where the models stand as of right now. So you said, where is it? You said New Jersey. Okay. So let me bring up New Jersey. So right now, you can see the models are kind of all over the place here. But there is a pretty good majority of the models. Actually, pretty much all the main ones do suggest at least some pretty good amount of snowfall may be falling out there, like GFS Euro, the GDP SGIM, AIFS, and Euro AI. They all do show New Jersey getting impacts, but it's too early to tell. You said worst case scenario. That looks like the worst case scenario would likely be like the Euro ECMWF. Showing you guys really getting some heavy stuff here. But not all models look like that at that point. And, that's kind of pushing towards the end of the event too, which it's even further out and even more unknown, essentially. So come back in a couple of days and we'll have a better idea of what, we could expect here. Let's see, thanks for all of this. Yeah, no problem. Let's see here. Gabriel says, didn't know that. Very cool stuff. Yep. It's certainly really interesting how it all happens. And another thing is too, is like, on these QT charts, they really show you the flow of the atmosphere. And a lot of people probably assume that the atmosphere's, everything's moving in the same direction all the time. It's not true. I was explaining this earlier in my video. It's like a stack of pancakes. Some of them are going off one way, one going off the other. No, the atmosphere is doing its own little thing at different levels. It's never the same, or not always the same, I should say. At different levels of the atmosphere. There's different cloud layers sometimes. It's pretty cool. Like here's our wind barbs here. You can see they're kind of all scattered throughout. Once again, like I was saying, this is our ground level. This is on the ground. then the higher you go up in the graph, the more altitude you gain. So this is upper atmosphere, mid atmosphere, lower atmosphere, and these are the winds. And the wind barbs, they show which way the wind's going, kind of like a compass, essentially. Basically the skinny end of the barb shows which way the wind is going to. And you can see that in this particular sounding, lower atmosphere, the winds are likely going southeast. Mid atmosphere kind of going to the east here, but sometimes they're just all over the place. It's pretty crazy. But these barbs here you can see too. Now you guys probably are wondering what these. I know a lot of you guys in here know what these are and how to read these, but in case you don't, the triangles means 50 knots. So in this particular one I circled, there's 2 triangles, so that's 100 knots of winds already, and there's 4 long lines. Each long line is 10 knots. So right here, there's a total of 140 knot winds going to the east for the most part, coming from the west northwest, heading east for the most part. I probably bored like a lot of people in the chat. I'm sorry for that. Just a little bit of a lesson, just so that you guys can kind of understand the dynamics more and kind of how everything works here. Anyways. If this stays consistent all the way through the high res models, that would be insane. Yeah, especially like mid range models too. I mean, even mid range, like mid like NAM. But yeah, once it gets like the HRRR and stuff, it'll be interesting. If we got 16 inches of snow, that would easily be the snowstorm of the decade for us. Yeah, it would be a big one for sure. But anyways, everybody, if y'all have any questions, feel free to let us know. See, what states are due to get winter precipitation? Possibly Texas, North Carolina, New York. Family traveling the latter parts of the weekend. Ooh. Yeah, all those areas you mentioned could really be in for possibly some winter weather here. You can see kind of where the models are at now and where they agree here. I mean, you can see there could be quite a few states included in this winter storm here. The size is still not too sure right now. But yeah, this could really cover a lot of the central lower plains, Midwest, the Ohio Valley, maybe even the Southeast, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. All those areas could be heavily impacted by the storm here. Absolutely. Like I said, something we can't tell you is exactly how big the storm will be yet. The exact track, once again, could oscillate north or south. So yeah. Will I be going live when the event happens this weekend? More than likely, yes. Yeah, I mean, something like this is something I need to cover. With especially if it becomes a big ice storm, huge problems in which I'll definitely do my best to stream as much as I can. So, and we'll be giving you guys a lot of updates here. I'll be doing a lot of shorts, videos, and live streams here of this event here, just to keep you guys in the loop with everything. Just make sure y'all are staying safe out there and just staying weather aware. That's the main thing. Just making sure you guys are, keeping an eye on it and kind of know what's going on here. So, but anyways, folks, well, if you guys have any more questions, let us know here. Just kind of want to hop on here, give you guys a bit of an update here this evening. Let's see, what's the jet stream looking like in the lower levels? Let me look here. Let me pull up I'm just gonna get rid of these here. Let's reset this. I'll pull up the Euro. ECMWF. Let's do edit layers. We'll do upper air. We'll do 850 millibar wind speeds. Here we go. So, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Honestly, yeah, going into Saturday, the lower level winds do pick up quite a bit in the south. Now the question is there going to be any instability? Euro shows maybe a little bit of instability with some of that wind shear. Too early to tell, really. Here, let me grab a sounding here. I'm curious. Curious. Oh, wow. Yeah, nothing would happen in that. That's all elevated stuff. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's see here. Joplin says Southeast Kansas will get some snow and or ice and snow. No, it's gonna be cold. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. No problem. No problem. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out there for it. For you guys. Like I said, it definitely could be a pretty good one. See, I'm watching this from Springfield, Ohio. My friend's seeing this and hoping they don't close school again. Who wishes they don't close school? But good to see it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Ohio definitely could be in a impact zone for sure. Absolutely. Let's see here. Watch it from Augusta, Georgia area that looks pretty catastrophic for us. Yeah, it's too early to tell for Georgia, but I mean, yeah, there could definitely be some impacts on it. Do most storm systems in winters normally come from the Pacific Northwest? Not always. A lot of them get moisture from the Gulf, actually. So, did not mean to switch my scene there by accident. Whoops. See, which states will this not impact? A lot of the West will not get the storm here. So, oh my goodness, dude. I just got a $5 Cash App donation from Michael. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that, man. Okay, let me read what they said. Thank you so much for that. Let me read the little note here. Yeah, thank you so much for that, dude. That helps out a lot. If my phone would even load, I would read the little message you gave me. Let me try this. Let me try restarting the app, maybe. That'll probably help. But thanks, dude. I really appreciate that. Helps me out a ton. All right. Well, whenever that loads, I'll I'll pull it up and I'll read. Oh, here we go. Oh, Michael just said thank you. You're welcome, dude. I got you, man. Do I remember the 2014 ice storm? One heck of a storm. I do not specifically. I do remember in 2010, I think it was at Mid-Atlantic. Well, I grew up in Virginia. 2010 and 2016 had some of the biggest snowstorms I've ever been in. But specifically, no. See, Joplin says the $5 to me, Cash App is better than sending through YouTube. I really appreciate that, my friend. Thank you, dude. Seriously. Let's see here. Tune Vision says, I live in Northwest Georgia in Somerville, north of Rome. What can I expect with this? See, I know a little far out, just like to know what I think. So, I mean, Northwest Georgia could be in for, pretty good impacts here. Let me bring up the main models here again. It's good to, we'll grab our workflow preset comparison here. All right, so let's hop on back here. Now, obviously, some of the models show different stories here. Like for example, the AIFS, the GFS one, does show a bit of rain, but then you got models like the actual GFS that shows maybe a bit of snow. Euro shows a bit of ice. It's really all over the place right now. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, I mean, models are literally in every direction right now. That's what I'm saying. There is a lot of disagreement still, and a lot of that is going to need to be worked out. So, let's see. Will this impact Detroit and Chicago? Thank you for your great reports. Yeah, no problem. It's a little hard to tell, but more than likely it'll be south of those areas. Yeah, Detroit and Michigan and Chicago, Illinois, it seems a little high for the storm. A lot of the models want the system to be further to the south for the most part. So, early to tell, but if we have this massive northerly push, that could happen or could not, that'll determine it. It's too early to be for sure exactly who will and who won't get this event. So, but anyways, all right, everybody. Well, I probably got to roll off here for now. I got some things I got to go get done, but I just wanted to hop on here for a little bit with you guys just to kind of talk about what's going on here. Let's see, what's causing the Arctic blast of cold air to dive south? That low, essentially. So lows rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere. So they pull up warm air from the south, and they bring down cold air from the north. So it's kind of like a big mixing pot, essentially, of just warm and cold air. see here. I will need this storm just to bring snow, but who knows? Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. Could be a good one for sure. I mean, also an ice too, like I said. So we'll have to keep an eye out there for that too. Not just the snow, but also the ice and everything. But all right, everybody. Well, if you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'm not going to hold you to it, but it would be greatly appreciated if you guys could leave a like as well. It'll definitely help out. I just want to go ahead and say, everybody, thank you all for stopping by here and, for hanging out with us. But yeah, I mean, we'll go live again tomorrow. I'll probably have a video out for you guys tomorrow too. We'll do more analysis and, we'll have more model data and stuff like that. We'll be a little closer to the event every day. Every time we stream, we'll get a little bit closer to the event. So we'll learn a little bit more every time. But, all right, everybody. Thank you all for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. And we'll see you guys here in the next one. All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see y'all later on. Peace out, my friends. See ya in the next one.